team.
Right.
We'll let him in if he tries to get in. Grace, you have the Comcast live?
Yes, we're live.
All right, now YouTube.
Yep.
We're ready to go, guys.
Thank you very much. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with
liberty,
and justice for all. That was awful. Now I need each member, one by one. We'll start with Stephen, to say that their name, that they're a member of the planning board of the town of Kent, and that there's no one there whispering in their ears. Please.
My name is Stephen Well. I'm a member of the Town of Kent Planning Board, and I'm alone.
Charlie,
Richard Othmer, citizen.
I'm Dennis Lowe's. I'm a member of the Kent Planning Board, and I am alone.
Charlie,
I'm Charlie Sisto. I'm a member of the Kent Planning Board, and I'm alone also.
Giancarlo,
Hello, everyone. My name is Giancarlo. I'm a member of the Kent Planning Board, and I am alone.
Simon,
Hello, my name is Simon Carey. I'm a member of the planning board and I'm here on my own.
I'm Phil Tolmack, a member of the planning board of the town of Kent, and I am also here alone. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the June meeting of the town of Kent Planning Board. Gentlemen, have you all read the minutes from the last month's meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
No.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So,
Oh, also, I think to help Vera out, if you raise your hand when you either make a motion or second it, so she can see who's speaking.
do you want me virtually raise your hands or actually block the mic? There's a way to do it.
Now you're confusing me.
Yes.
Come on, Stephen,
Just raise your hand.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the May Town of Kent Planning Board minutes.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Oh, no, we got to do roll call. I'm sorry. Stephen, how do you
Aye.
vote? Charlie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dennis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Giancarlo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Simon?
aye.
And I vote aye, passes. Mr. Othmer, we have to open a public hearing, I believe. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing on Mr. Othmer's proposal?
I'll make that motion.
And a second, please?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Once again, Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
Aye, and I vote aye too. Hi, Richie. Why don't you give us an overview of what's going on?
I spoke to Julie the other day and she basically straightened me out because I was very confused about the sequence of everything. And Julie and my engineer, John, met and I basically said I should just shut up and stay out of it because I was confusing everything. So,
All right. Liz, do you want to start?
I don't have any comments on this, and the only question I have is after you do the hearing, if you decide to close it, whether or not the board thinks there would be a need for a written comment period. You can figure that out later.
Okay. Julie, you have comments?
Yeah, so I had a few comments in my comment memo. None of them are major. John, Kaylin, I don't know if you have
Dolly,
any of them. One of the other things is I got an email back from Jeff Battistoni, the planning board attorney. He was happy with the disclosure of business interests. He said we should just repeat that the property was sold to Alexander Offmer and is no longer owned by Richard Offmer Jr., the highway superintendent. He just said we should say that out loud during the public hearing. So that's been taken care of. I also recommend approving a waiver for the topography because it didn't quite meet the 50 feet around the area of disturbance in all spots. So just to be on the safe side, my recommendation would be to grant the waiver for topography. And we also have a bond recommendation using the unit cost we've used for other projects in Kent. The bond we came up with is $8,930. That's what we're going to recommend for the bond amount and to be forwarded to the town board for approval and acceptance. And I think that's pretty much it, unless there's any public comments. That was mostly what I have.
Thank you, Julie. Bruce?
John, would you just, for anybody
You
who
know,
might be-
I have to interrupt you. Bruce, you have to identify yourself. Everybody,
I'm sorry.
remember, please identify yourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bruce Barber. I'm the town's environmental consultant. Good evening. John, would you, for anybody who's listening and unfamiliar with the project, just go over real quickly what the project entails?
Sure. John Kalin, DC Engineering. I'm here representing Rich Alfmer and his son. Basically, it's hard to see on the board here, but we have a single family lot. It's about 3¼ acres, a little less. The owner's looking to construct a single family residence on. The house is about 1,400 square feet, somewhere in that range. There's going to be an individual septic, individual well, and a driveway associated with the application. All the tree clearing is done. The parcel itself is a wide open area, which is mostly grass. As part of the application, Rich is going to construct the house, the septic, the well, and the driveway. With all the necessary erosion control measures in place. And that's really about it. It's pretty simple house site.
Great, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
So, Mr. Chairman, between the last memo and currently, John Kalin has provided satisfactory responses to my comments. The only thing I just want to put on the record, and Richie Othmer, please correct me if I'm wrong, the soil that's stockpiled, the small area of soil that's stockpiled on the site has actually originated from the site, either through stripping of topsoil or through deep and perk testing for the septic. Is that correct, Rich?
The test holes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have no additional comments.
Thank you, Bruce. Gentlemen, do you have any questions, comments about this? Is there anybody in our audience who would like to speak on this?
The only comment I would have is, Phil, is regarding Liz's comment for the period to mail in any comments. It probably should give people, the public, 1 week to mail in comments.
Liz, is 1
We have
week
no public
enough?
comment on the YouTube, guys.
There's no public comment on the YouTube?
No, not as of yet, no.
Okay, in other words, nobody is raising their hand to speak?
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, it's up to the board. It's probably not a bad idea to allow a week for somebody to email or, or call Vera or whatever. So that would be by the 18th, next Thursday.
Is that sufficient? Or should we give them more time?
I think that's sufficient. I mean, given, how most of these erosion sedimentation control applications go on single family lots. I have to backtrack. My name is Liz Axelson from CPL. I'm a planning consultant to the planning board. So I think it would be appropriate to announce in the middle of this meeting that comments would be accepted until next Thursday, June 18th, by, I don't know what's the end of the day for Vera, but I believe it's 2:30 p.m. And so I guess if you want to close the hearing tonight, it would be contingent on allowing 1 week public comment period, written, and that any comments be addressed to the extent practicable.
Oh, we have somebody try to get into the meeting for a comment possibly.
Okay.
Please.
All right,
Phil-
Bobby, we just let you into the meeting. Can you please identify yourself to the board?
I think he's muted.
Yeah.
Bobby, you have to unmute yourself. Or not.
Is there a way that the moderator can unmute Bobby?
I'm trying that right now. He's not connected to audio properly.
Well, we'll go on. If he needs to get into, that's fine.
No, but Phil, I would recommend just the same as like Liz mentioned, close the hearing contingent on any comments, any written comments.
Right.
That way we can get him closed. He can start going administrative track. We can approve the bond amount.
Liz, is there any reason why we should leave it open for another month? I mean, this doesn't help Richie at all.
Call unneeded burden on the.
All right, so let's skip that.
We don't want to cause an unneeded burden.
All right, hang
It
on,
looks
guys. We
like
got somebody else trying
somebody's
to get in.
connecting okay. I see somebody else connecting to audio, and I
Do you
just
have a
sent.
public comment for us, Sue? You
This
just
is
joined the
Sue.
meeting?
We just joining the meeting. No comment.
Oh, okay, you're just joining the meeting to watch it?
Yes.
All right, not a problem at all. Just we're accepting public comment at this time. That's why we thought.
Okay. No.
All right,
I just
please,
sent a chat out to Bobby. Make sure you're properly connected to audio, but I don't see any change. So
Okay.
So can I get a motion to close the public hearing? And do that separately from the bond, right, Liz?
yeah, and if you
Right.
could make your closure of the public hearing
Right.
contingent upon
A period
written comments
open.
being
Right.
provided by next Thursday, June 18th at 2:30 p.m. to be addressed to the extent practicable. And I think that would have to be determined by Julie and Bruce, depending on the commentary.
And
Who would
if
like
I-
to make that motion?
I'll
I will
make
make that motion.
Phil, if I can just add, excuse me, that the comments be directed to the planning board clerk at the address in town hall.
Excellent idea, Bruce.
Good one, Bruce.
Ah, shucks, thanks.
Okay, we got a motion by Charlie.
In
Who
a
wants
second,
to
by
second it?
Stephen.
Stephen? Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Passes. Who would like to make a motion to accept or to place a bond of $8,930 for this project
And send to administrative track.
and put it into administrative track?
I'll make that motion. This is Stephen.
A second?
I'll second it, Simon.
Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Have we covered everything, Liz? Or there's
No,
more?
one more thing. I neglected to introduce myself before. I'm Julie Mangarillo from Rody, Sorky and Andrews Consulting Engineers. I'm the consulting engineer for the Kent Planning Board. There's also the waiver for topography. So if would like to take a vote on granting the waiver from Town Code Chapter 66 for existing topography 50 feet beyond the limits of proposed area of disturbance.
So that would be a variance?
Nope, it's a waiver.
Okay, then I will make the motion for the waiver of the topography.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon,
Aye.
and I vote aye too. Passes.
Right.
Are we good?
Think so.
Julie,
Yes?
is there anything on that we need to pay attention to as far as like the MS4s and the SP3s and the whole thing like that for Rich's project?
Well, it still has to get coverage under the state permit for construction activities. So I
Okay.
have some comments for his engineer to adjust some of the answers on the notice of intent. So presumably he'll fix those and then
Yeah, they're all done.
issues the MS4 sort of acceptance form, and then they can submit that to get coverage under the state.
Okay, is there any further action we need to take as far as those are concerned?
No,
Once the state issues the permits, it's a fait accompli.
yeah, he has to provide the bond. The bond has to go to the board.
Yeah.
His engineers to provide revised drawings, the revised NOI. Then I'll review that again. Then my office will provide the MS4 sort of acceptance form. Then they can submit that to the state. So there's a couple more steps, but
Yep, okay,
very close.
great, thanks, Julie.
Okay.
Just a point of clarification, I don't remember when the board voted on having this go to administrative track, if it was mentioned to address any remaining comments. Julie, town consulting engineer, and Bruce. But that's the typical practice, so.
Yeah, I believe they lumped it in with the bond.
Right. You want us to rephrase it?
No, I'm just adding the clarification.
And we had that clarification about where the comments were going to go.
Gentlemen, you have any other questions or comments about this?
Rich?
Rich, to you or John?
Just one or two things. Julie, we have everything for you for the NOI. I was ready to send it down today, but I thought it was a bad idea, bad timing. So tomorrow we'll put everything together on plan and print and send it out to you electronically, and the paper copies will follow.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
the comments were super minor, and we changed everything on the drawings already. We just need time to print them and send them over to you. So you should see it tomorrow.
Very good. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
I have one question.
Sure.
Rich,
So, the bond, now the bond, you guys accepted the bond to move ahead to the board tonight? Is that the town board? Is that how that works?
We send it to the town board and they accept it.
Okay, and you have the bond and I handed that in, right? You guys all have that?
Yes, Vera packages it up and sends it to the town board for the next agenda.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
send it tomorrow.
I'm fine then. I'll leave it to Julie and John.
All right. Let's see. Fregosi Marinelli. Is there anybody here for Fregosi Marinelli? I've lost most of my screen.
Yeah, something just happened. The screen now says Town of Kent NY Planning Board meeting.
Ah,
Thank
Yeah.
you.
oh, you're playing with us. Okay. Good.
I'm putting that up to the
Disco, your
public and call-
mugs.
I'm putting that up to the public, sees it over TV and they can call in.
Okay,
No
Good-
problem.
good
no
call.
problem, no problem.
I thought
Is there
maybe
anyone
something
here
had Mind of its own.
for Fregosi Marinelli?
Hang on, guys, I'm checking the waiting room. I don't have him yet. Does anybody have a way to get a hold of Joe?
No.
Shall we go on to DEP?
So for Grossi Marinelli, they're supposed to have a public hearing. So I don't
Right.
know if you want to open it and then adjourn it to next month. Based on the conversation last month, I was expecting a resubmittal, which would have put them in a good position to have the public hearing, but we haven't received that resubmittal anyway. So a recommendation would be to, hold it over until next month, and maybe they'll get in the resubmittal and then we can, have additional comments.
Should we open the hearing just in case somebody is here to speak about it?
Do you want to just wait until Dan Lawrence can present? Maybe Fregosi will come on in the meantime.
It's fine. Should we move on to Dan Lawrence to Valley Brook? I can't read.
Sure, I'm ready if you guys are.
Hi, Dan.
We're ready.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Why don't you give us an overview of your project?
Sure, the project is an 85-acre, roughly, timber harvest on New York City DEP-owned watershed land. It's going to be a moderate intensity crown thinning. We're going to be removing approximately 25 to 30% of the basal area of the trees on the property and creating some small patch openings in a couple locations to promote the early successional habitat. And the project should take 3 to 5 months, hopefully, depending on weather, but it might have to take place between over the course of 2 windows because we can only harvest between November 1st and March 31st due to acoustic detection of Indiana bat on the property.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Gentlemen, you have any questions? Oh, can I get a motion to open a public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
I'm losing everybody again.
That's okay. It's for a good reason.
Right.
Can you guys identify yourselves again though when you do the motions? Because I can't get that.
Okay.
Aaron, Simon, I seconded.
Okay. Charlie, how do you vote?
Aye.
Simon,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Giancarlo,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and I vote aye too. Is there anybody in our audience who would like to speak about this project?
I have a question for Dan.
Go right ahead.
Sure.
Dan, Dennis Lowe's on the planning board. Did you get together with our town highway superintendent and work out using the roadway over there, what is it, Nimham Road, out to 301, as far as hauling out the saw logs?
I spoke with Rich a week or so ago. He didn't seem to have any concerns with using the coal shears side of the because it kind of has 2 landings. There's 2 access areas.
Yeah.
So he had no concerns over that side. The Nimham side had just been paved maybe 2 years ago, and he just asked that if the road surface is damaged where the trucks are entering from our property, that we would provide any asphalt needed to make the necessary repairs.
Okay. So he figured the bearing capacity on the roadways is okay for the log trucks.
I believe so. I've spent quite a bit of time out there, and there's been some pretty heavy trucks. I mean, I've seen tractor trailers with 40-foot trailers coming over those bridges. Not to mention the fuel trucks and the oil trucks coming through there as well. So I'm also not entirely sure what a 40-foot tractor trailer was doing in that neighborhood, but you never know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good. I just wanted to make sure you had touched base with Rich and that he was okay with hauling the loads out over the roads.
Okay. Do we need to hold over the public hearing or should we close it?
We have a couple of, Dan, do you want to discuss the wetland question we were talking about today a little bit?
Sure. I talked to Bruce this afternoon. I just had some questions regarding the need for a wetland permit for the project. I know on the previous project that I had done that had similar stream crossings, I was determined not to need a permit, so I just wanted to touch base on that. Bruce informed me that because we were going to be putting stone down on that abandoned portion of Smalley Corners Road, that necessitated the need for the permit. Yeah, I guess we're gonna go ahead and try to do that. I think it'll be what's best for that road surface. I mean, it's abandoned, but we try to leave things nicer than we find them, so when possible. So I guess if we proceed with that, then I don't know, does that chapter 39A6C still apply as the reason for it, needing the permit?
I think it's all those numbers, 39A6, I think it's C, Dan, which would exempt your operation with the exception of, as we discussed today, going within 60 feet of the wetlands as shown on your maps with the placement of fill or any land disturbance. So that's where you'd be citing that. I think it's in my memo I sent out today. I can certainly fill you in on what you need to know.
Yep, that's the one. I have it up in front of me here. The grazing, farming, harvesting of crops, and then the 60 feet, leave an undisturbed strip not less than 60 feet wide. Really, my only question, Bruce, as I spoke to you, is just that it was an existing road surface, and so there's really not going to be very much disturbance to the soil of the road. There'll be minimal grading, if any. We'll just be putting down some 2-inch stone, clean stone, no fines, on top of the existing surface for 250 something feet.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really positive thing that you're doing, Dan. As we discussed, probably not going to incur a lot of land disturbance, grading, et cetera, to install the material. And certainly with the trucks going in and out of there, the potentiality is to get that area rutted out near the wetlands, and it will rain and get some sediment into the wetlands, which we want to avoid. So it's a really positive thing that you're doing. I don't want it to feel like you get a wetland permit on a punitive basis, but with the grading and the changing and what have you, as per the code, it indicates you need the wetland permit. So I think that's where we are.
Okay. In that case, then, Vera, can I transfer the permit fee that I wasn't refunded for the horse pound project? If I could just take that wetland permit fee and move it to this project, that would be great.
Yeah, that would probably be easier. I'll have to talk to Julia about it because we haven't been in much. So Monday our hours start again. So I'll do that.
That would be great. And then just the last thing is that in Bruce's determination, it says there's an Article 24 permit needed for the project, the DEC permit. And that's not the case. There's no Article 24 permit necessary for this particular forestry project.
Right, that's great, Dan. I think you said you had some materials from DEC for an Article 15 saying that it wasn't required, or whatever you might have would be great. There are some DEC jurisdictional wetlands involved there, as you noted. Mr. Chairman, Julie and I were discussing, there's still some comments pending from earlier memos. We might advise that you adjourn the public hearing till next month. I'll defer to Julie as well on that, but there's still a few up and out and ends. I would like to go out, and Dan and I discussed this earlier, to meet him on the site to just go over a few things, look at the wetlands, et cetera, and then report back to the board.
Sounds good, Bruce. Julie, do you have stuff to add?
No, this is Julie Mangarillo. No, my comments from my previous memo in April will need to be addressed in the next submittal. Because of that, I think the public hearing should be held over. So hopefully by the time next month rolls around, everything should be buttoned up.
And actually, I just want to add, in the interest of buttoning things up next month, that the board allow folks, as usual, to go ahead and submit written comments if they want. There's really no timeline. It's next meeting, basically.
Right, before
Yeah.
the next.
Yeah,
Just to clarify one other thing, there actually aren't any DEC wetlands on this project. The wetlands that are noted on my map were the ones that were determined by New York City DEP wetland staff when we did our delineations. And Julie, I have all the responses to your comments. I'm just waiting on that bond waiver letter that we got last time. It has to get run way up the chain to chief financial officer or someone I'll probably never meet. So I'm just trying to get everything together and give it to you guys all in one shot to avoid losing anything or having anything, go missing. So that's my plan. That's why you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's great. I would say that if by the time the submittal deadline for the July meeting comes around next week, if you're still waiting on just that letter, I would submit the rest of it, the drawings and everything.
Okay.
Questions, anybody? Can I get a motion to hold the public hearing over until next month?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it, Simon.
Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Thank you, Dan. You have any extra
All right, thank you, everyone.
questions for us before you go?
I think I'm all set. Bruce, if you just want to give me a call and let me know what day works for you. I have a pretty flexible schedule, so I can meet you out there.
you got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Real Budo. Is anyone here from Real Budo?
That would be me.
Hi, Jack.
Hey,
Why don't you give us a quick overview?
we are here for, I guess, the bond approval. And we were at administrative review, and I think everybody's satisfied with the final plans that were submitted. And we got this email from Lento, the neighbor. And I had indicated in a previous response to one of Julie's comment letters that we didn't expect that we were going to put any additional fill on the property. But Julie and I worked out a note on the plan that said that if any fill was imported, then it has to meet DEC regulations. But I talked to Mr. Rebuto just before this meeting, and he says they have no intention of bringing in any additional fill. They're going to move this fill around that's there in accordance with the grading plan and call it a day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, so all that's left is the bond recommendation and then to send it back to administrative track and they can finish up, get to work.
And how much bond are we imposing?
There's an erosion control bond for $5,300 and then a planting bond for $3,300.
Thank you.
This has to go to the town board, or we already come back from the town board?
Once the money is provided, whether it's a surety bond or cash, then that gets submitted to the town board because the town board's the only one that can actually accept money.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to accept I can't read my writing, $5,300 bond? Is that right? Erosion control bond?
Yes.
And
I'll make the motion. Giancarlo.
And a second?
Second.
Stephen, how do you vote?
vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. And can I get a motion to accept the $3,300 planting bond?
I'll make that motion, Simon.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Let's go backwards. Simon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Anything else we have to do on this?
That's it that I know of.
Jack?
Did we get final approval? I mean, it went to administrative review months ago, and
Yeah, that's the final approval. This is the bond.
all right.
Yeah, so yeah, you'll have to make sure that you have enough hard copies in for Vera. And I don't know where this is on the MS4 SWIP acceptance form. So we'll need to do that.
Did you sign that?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go dig it out.
We'll check it out tomorrow.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, you should be just about ready for chairman's signature. I don't have any additional comments on the drawings themselves.
Okay, I'll get the copies in. I'll talk to Vera. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack, please ask him to mow his yard.
What?
Please ask him to mow his yard.
I'll tell him.
All right, thank you.
Good to go.
Mr. Ryan, I think you're next.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a small rundown of your project?
Excuse me, Phil, I think you need to close the public hearing for Jack's project, don't you?
Jack didn't have a public hearing.
No, we didn't have.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry. Good question.
Good catch.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan.
It's okay. Mr. Rin. Just
Rin. Sorry.
Rin Tin Tin. So we're asking for a waiver from the 3%. Julie, can you explain what I'm asking for?
So they're requesting one waiver for the driveway because in the first 30 feet, the driveway is sloped at 10% towards the road, where usually there's supposed to be a maximum of 5%, and the driveway is supposed to slope down and away from the town road. While doing my review, I realized that the driveway pad, the parking pad outside of the garage, is steeper than what's permitted by code. So my recommendation, and his engineer, Jack Carell, had submitted a request via email for also a driveway waiver for the parking pad at 5%, which exceeds the driveway code of 3%.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, sorry to interrupt. I just got a hold of Joe Fergosi. He's a part of the meeting now, so we'll go back to him after we're done here.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, yes, hi.
Bruce, you have anything to add?
No. Mr. Rin contacted me as we discussed at the workshop. I will be in touch with him probably to go out and have a look at the plantings in the stormwater basin at his convenience sometime next week. But that's not applicable to what the board is acting on this evening. So I have no further comments.
Thank you. Liz? What do we do?
No comments. I haven't been involved in this review.
So what action we have to take here, or none?
I should also have added that highway superintendent and the fire department submitted letters saying they have no objection to the waiver at the road. So that's a very important detail.
Right.
Has this already had a hearing?
The project itself did, yes.
Yes.
A long time ago. Yep. So this is just for the driveway waivers.
So this
Can I get a motion for a driveway waiver on this project, gentlemen?
I'll make that motion, Simon.
A second, please.
I'll second. Giancarlo.
Stephen, how do you vote?
All right.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. We good?
Thank you very
Anything more to
much.
do on this? Mr. Rin, any questions for us?
No, thanks very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And Bruce, I'll wait to hear from you whenever you're ready.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we'll go to Fregosi Marinelli. We have
Yes,
somebody
hi.
here.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you introduce
Okay.
yourself, please?
Yes, Joseph Fregosi.
Mr. Fregosi, can you just give a brief rundown of why you're here?
Well, I was on the board meeting on the agenda for this evening.
Answer.
I'll accept that.
Okay.
Who'd like to speak about this? Julie?
Yes, I will speak about this. So this is a project for a single family home. And we had a series of comments quite some time ago, and then we updated them in April. So when we spoke last month, it sounded like you might be able to address some or all of the comments by this month. So we had recommended starting the public hearing process, but they have not resubmitted to address any of the comments. So at this point, my recommendation would be to hold the public hearing over until July, until they can provide a resubmittal that addresses hopefully most of the comments.
Now, we haven't opened it yet. Should we just not open it until next month, or?
Oh, open it, yeah.
No, you should open it.
All right, can I get a motion to open a public hearing on this project?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Stephen.
And a second, please.
I'll second it.
Stephen, how do you vote?
All right.
Charlie?
What are we voting for? Hold it over for next,
No, to open it.
Open the hearing.
oh, okay, yeah, aye.
Open the.
Simon?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Oh, nice mountain.
Okay.
Very pretty.
Nice.
That's in Lake Carmel, you know.
Yeah. Wish.
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel.
All right, where are we?
All right, what I'm waiting on is Roy Frederickson, which he's taken his sweet time on getting me all the information that is needed on this site plan. And as soon as I get in touch with him, which he very rarely has been picking his phone up, I'm going to give him help so we get this going here, because we're anxious to start.
Joe, I have a
Yes.
couple. It's Bruce Barber, Joe. Good evening.
How you doing, Bruce?
Good, thank you. Joe, you, first of all, so the board's aware, were able to provide a letter from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, indicating that the structures, foundations, et cetera, that Julie and I had seen when we did our site inspection were not to be regulated and therefore not at play in this application. So I just wanted the board to know that. And additionally, your limits of disturbance actually would not be involving those structures to begin with. So that was something very positive that you provided, but I do have a question. I was looking at your septic approval that you provided compared to the site plan that Roy Frederickson has put together. And the septic, Joe, has the house and septic in a different location than what Roy is showing. And then there is this, there isn't a common driveway on the septic plan as shown on the site plan that Roy Frederickson is providing. So I'm wondering if you might be able to help clarify, you know, they're two different plans and we of course want to be consistent.
I think one was the old plan that we provided you, and the new plan, okay.
There was a new survey.
Okay.
Yeah, there was the new
Yes.
survey done, which is very nice, but it doesn't look like the erosion control plans have been fully updated to have the same information as the new survey.
Right. Right, Julie.
Okay. All right. Well, the original plans that I believe Harry Nichols did showed the house and the driveway closer to the north side of the property.
Mhm.
We redone it because we had to update the Board of Health, and we didn't like where it was because it was basically on top of the other house. What we did, we moved the property more, the house and the septic more south, where the septic is behind the house. And because of the structures that you don't want us to disturb, the existing ones, if the house was in that area originally, we'd be disturbing the structures that you don't want us to disturb. So we moved the house more to the south to stay away from those structures.
Okay, and Joe,
Now,
do you
the
have,
plan that I have, I don't know if you have a plan in front of you, but it was June 1st, 2018.
yeah, I don't,
All of the drawings aren't consistent. They use different base mapping. So your engineer needs to make sure that all of the drawings are on the newest survey. So they all have the same base mapping. The driveway's in the same location, all that stuff. I just also wanted to point it out that because you got the letter from the state OPRHP regarding the structures and saying that they're not protected in any way, you don't have to protect them in any way. I don't believe the town has any additional interest in those structures. It would only if they would be protected by the state. Since the
Okay,
state-
well, the state said that it's not historical at all.
Right, yes,
So,
right, with that
yes,
letter.
but Bruce said that we could not disturb those structures.
no, Joe, that's not the case. We needed to get information that you have since obtained from the state as to whether or not they needed to be protected as being historic structures. As Julie just indicated and I did earlier, the state indicated they did not. So I think Julie's point is that you do not have those limitations on your site plan that you were looking at previously to preserve those structures. As I said, they're not at play.
Right. So the state said they're not
Okay.
protected, so you can do whatever you would like with them.
Yes, of course, they're not historical or anything. They don't look at it that it's historical. So, okay, let me get Roy and let's get this stuff done, and hopefully we can get it resolved by the next meeting.
Yeah, and Joe, just to underscore that common drive, it seems it's going through your property to an adjoining property. I'm not sure if it's an easement or what that might be, but you certainly want to look into that as well, okay?
Yes, it's an easement for the people to go through our property, which is only one other resident on the north side of our property. Believe it or not, I believe it should be on the deed that we submitted to you about that easement.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. And what the board would, I'm sure, like to see, Joe, is the description of the easement, as well as any typical maintenance agreement that you'll have with the adjoining property owner to ensure that it's maintained. If you have that and can submit it to Vera, that would be great.
Okay, well, what it is, it's basically all the residents in that subdivision, because it's a private driveway, they have to pay $100 a month for maintenance for the road. It's a community thing. It's not just the person on the north side of the property. It's the whole subdivision that's involved in this.
Okay, great. Whatever you have that you can submit, Joe, would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, well, like I said, I should have everything together definitely by the next meeting, and we'll see how it works out. from there, I guess.
Sounds good.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry, Julie?
No, sounds good.
So do we need to make a motion to continue to the, oh, no, we don't. Yes.
Yes,
Continue.
During the meeting.
can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing until next month?
I'll make that motion.
A second, please.
I'll second it, Simon here.
Simon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Are we good on that one, or any other questions? Anybody? Shall we go below the line?
Sure.
Who working?
I'll take a stab at it.
All right.
So,
Uh-oh.
Putnam Nursing, as we discussed in the workshop, they may be very close to addressing their conditions of approval. However, one of the things that's needed to sign off has to do with making sure all their fees are paid. So I've been in touch with Vera, and Vera's been extremely diligent about following up on these items. We want to make sure that any bill from Jeff Battistoni or any of the other consultants has been paid as part of the sign off. So I've kind of put that aside, that review, and a sign off will be coming when we get it all squared away.
Right.
No action for the board.
Next.
No.
Route 52, we're basically in the same place we were last month, which is there's no action for the board to take. We had some new information a couple months ago. You guys jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. But some of the submitted text and maps were not clear about what the proposed action was. So we had a conference call to discuss that and to ask for clarification on what's being put forth. And once they do a submittal, Bruce and Julie and I will review it and advise the board whether there is any action to be taken in regard to the environmental review. That's that. Anybody else?
Thank you. Sue, do you have any questions about Route 52? No. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Annunziata.
Annunziata, this is formerly the Belergion site. They have everything done, but they haven't provided a new erosion control bond. So right now the town has no protection if anything should happen. So we're still waiting on them to provide the bond. Rodriguez is for a subdivision. We're waiting on a resubmittal. I know Veers reached out to them, but we haven't heard anything new recently. Ranieri, I believe they need to replenish the escrow, and we're waiting on a full resubmittal. Go over. Kent Development Hilltop Estates, I believe they were almost complete for their erosion control permit for doing timber harvest, but it sounds like they're not pursuing that right now. I guess we were looking for some sort of letter or email to document that they're withdrawing the application for the erosion control permit for the timber harvest.
Julie?
Yes.
I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, Vera, you sent something in today that you were speaking, or somebody from Insight indicated they're going to be providing some information on the commercial piece of Kent Development. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jamie called and she said that he's not going to go through with the timber harvest now. I guess he's got a buyer or something that he's going to just go ahead and do like a new application, I think, or something like that, or revised one, he said.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Sorry, Julie.
That's okay. Yeah, Cargan, we're waiting for a formal withdrawal of the erosion control permit application. DeSanza is still hanging out there. And then Cabrera is another erosion control plan. I know Vera's reached out to them a few times. So I'm going to reach out next to see if there's any updates there.
Thank you, Julie. Gentlemen, any questions about anything?
No.
Vera,
What?
do you have, I'm sorry? Yeah,
What, DeSenza went to court over that wetland intrusion, right?
Yeah.
Does anybody know what the court verdict or settlement or anything was on that?
There has not yet been a decision rendered by the judge, Dennis. It's the idea that the judge had, which is a good one, is for the town and Mr. DeSanza to get together to try to resolve the wetland delineation as well as the mitigation. Mr. DeSanza is in arrears on his escrow. I've informed the finance department and supervisor's office of the situation. I believe they're working on it. So right now, it's still pending. I do understand, I haven't been to the site. Mr. DeSanza has been removing some of the wood chips, Dennis, in response to comments from New York State DEC, but he's not acting on the town judge's comments, nor Julie's or mine.
Okay. So we're just kind of hanging in there with him.
Yep.
Okay.
Vera, do you have anything you need to tell us?
No, I'm okay.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Stephen, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Giancarlo?
Aye.
Simon?
Aye.
And I vote aye too. Thank you all very much.
Hey, guys, thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks.
Everyone, stay
Thank
safe
you.
and healthy.
Thank you.
Everybody, it
You
always
guys
is.
did a good job tonight.
Thanks so much.
Getting
Tell the
better at this.
supervisor. Tell the supervisor that.
Yeah, right.
See y'all.
All right, thank you all.
Hey.
Well,
Good night. Maybe see you next in July.
Yes, sir. Good night,
Thanks
guys.
for the video, folks. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
thanks, Liz.
Good night, Vera.
Good night.